The month? August. The year? 2024. The 2024 Pokemon World Championships just concluded, and Regulation G has been a divisive one. Just a single restricted legendary on each team, and trying to deal with the insane power levels of the like of Shadow and Ice Rider Calyrex, Choice Specs Terra Electric Miraidon, not to mention classics like Kyogre, along with newcomers in Terrapagos, make this a tricky format to learn. Other ultra-powerful meta threats like Urshifu, Ogerpon, Tornadus, Iron Hands, and not to mention Fluttermane are still going strong. Other strong Pokemon maintain their presence with the likes of Rillaboom and Raging Bolt. Staples of previous formats like the iconic Incineroar and Farigiraf maintain a hold on the metagame. The community dreads another year of this single restricted format. Oh.
You've got mail.
An announcement. A new format, Regulation H. Must be double restricted. Oh, all legendary Pokemon banned? Paradox Pokemon as well? This is interesting. This is new. This is fresh. Unlike Regulation A that also didn't allow legendaries, this format includes some very powerful Pokemon like Ursaluna and Archaludon that, while not legendary, are much stronger than many weaker legendaries that are normally legal, like Zapdos or Entei. Additionally, building off of previous formats, this metagame will have some vacuums to fill. The all-powerful Urshifu is missing. Previous SV format staples are also banned, like Fluttermane, Iron Hands, and Raging Bolt. But many meta Pokemon are still around. The GOAT Incineroar, along with the likes of Rillaboom, Gholdengo, Amoonguss, and Kingambit, have all seen significant play in previous Scarlet and Violet formats. These thoughts and many more were swirling around the heads of VGC players around the world. Let's take a retrospective look at how this unique format played out. If you haven't yet and you're enjoying this type of content, make sure you hit subscribe. The predictions. The aforementioned prior staples are thought to succeed. Rillaboom, Gholdengo, Amoonguss, and Kingambit are at the forefront of everybody's minds. Incineroar will likely be taking a lead as well, but he's still recovering from being on fraud watch, as he didn't win the 2024 Worlds as expected. Perhaps he will underperform here as well, many think. Some other powerful Pokemon are in the spotlight too. Archaludon is a very strong pseudo-legendary, if you agree with the 600 base stat total definition, that didn't quite hit the spotlight in Reg F or Reg G, partly due to the presence of things like Urshifu, Fluttermane, and Landorus Incarnate. With both of these gone, surely he'll be able to thrive. Its signature move needs the rain to be as strong as it is, so Pelipper is on the radar as well. Everybody knows the power Ursaluna brings. Both Regular and Blood Moon are on watch. Porygon 2 is another Pokemon that has stood the test of time. Many Hisuian Pokemon are in the spotlight. When they were released into Scarlet and Violet VGC, the power level was just a bit too high for them to succeed. The Hisuian starters, along with Basculegion and Sneasler, just might have what it takes to succeed in this lower power format of Reg H. Supports like Whimsicott and Murkrow are now expected to rise up, with Tornadus being gone. And don't count out other pseudo-legendaries like Garchomp, Dragapult, and Hydreigon either. With Fluttermane gone, there's a large fairy-shaped hole in the metagame. And Primarina seems to be the best fit, since we need a fairy type, right? Urshifu has also left two large fighting and water-shaped holes in the metagame. What fighting options do we have now that our other backups like Great Tusk and Iron Hands are gone? What about water types? Perhaps Basculegion? We mentioned Primarina, but maybe Melodic could be good? The three fighting contenders seem to be Flamigo, with its Scrappy ability, allowing it to one-shot Gholdengo. Hisuian Decidueye and Sneasler are also seeing some play. Older Pokemon combos like Mouseape and Dondozo are also being playtested with some success. Sun Cores with Pokemon like Torkoal and Hisuian Typhlosion are niche, but very powerful. And what makes a good speed stat in this format will also be much lower now that things like Shadow Rider Calyrex and the base 135 speed crew are gone. So what constitutes a fast Pokemon in this format? It's yet to be defined. Early meta development showed that the Rain Core of Pelipper Archaludon is very strong. So how will that fare going into the first tournament? September 14th. Baltimore creeps up on us all too quickly, finally getting us back into the swing of things of in-person tournaments after just subsiding off of online tournaments for the last month or so. In a flash, our first tournament is underway, and a winner is crowned, but not before seeing some crazy tech choices. Highlights are Joe Ugarte's Sun team, featuring Jumpluff of all things, along with Hisuian Typhlosion boasting the strongest eruption in the game. Eject Pack Torkoal is a very strong tech choice, allowing him to keep control of the weather. Wolfie Glick surprises the world with a combination of Weezing and Toedscruel, disabling his own ability to allow the use of a fast Spore. Remember that speed stat we mentioned? Turns out 100 base speed is pretty good in Reg H. But neither of these represent the metagame as a whole, as Rillaboom peaks the usage chart, followed by Gholdengo and Primarina. balanced teams have the strongest hold on the metagame. Kingambit, Incineroar, and Amoonguss keep this archetype healthy while still being in the top usage. These 6, along with Sneasler, Archaludon, and Pelipper, are really the core 9 Pokemon of the metagame for now. But the winner of this event is none other than Nicholas Morales, with a pretty standard rain team using Pelipper, Archaludon, and Basculegion. Mousehold also made an incredible appearance to power up Archaludon's defense stat with a self-targeting population bomb, or just pick up KOs on its own. With a new format brewing, nothing is stronger than family. What about our upcoming fighting types? Well, Sneasler had great usage, but Flamigo saw the most usage in top 8. Could he be our hero? September 28th. Across the pond in Dortmund, we see much of the same types of balanced teams, but looking at the top teams, a different story is painted. Some new kids are on the block. Electabuzz and Magmar flood the EU metagame, paired with setup Pokemon like Kingambit and sometimes Volcarona. These Follow Me users enable setup strategies to overcome the balance meta. The top 6 Pokemon maintain their hold on the metagame overall, but Sneasler has taken a significant rise in usage, while Flamigo is nowhere to be seen. Garchomp, Sneasler, and Dragapult are all on the uptick, fast physical attackers are on the rise, and they are performing. The winner, Davide Moralia, takes the tournament with redirection not from Electabuzz or Magmar, but Clefable. Its unaware allows it to ignore damage from opposing setup. His team includes Garchomp, Annihilate, and Hydreigon that are other standouts. October 12th. Back in America, where the chicken is fried and the derby derbs, Louisville, Kentucky is our next event. With the presence of all these strong Steel, Dark, and Normal types, a fighting type must rise in place of Urshifu. A new hero emerges in Sneasler, taking the #1 usage in both Day 1 and Day 2, with Day 2 reaching 45%. Primarina usage takes a hit, and Garchomp continues to see strong usage, along with the status quo rain teams. But the standout from this tournament, placing 4th, was Parker Simmons with his Sunroom team, featuring Executor and Hisuian Zoroark of all things. He puts up a great fight, but he's knocked out in the semifinals. Joe Ugarte is back with his same Sun team, but adding Garchomp in the mix. He puts up an incredible fight, but gets knocked out in the finals by Andrew Zhang, who takes a prize with an insane turn 1 read, hitting a vital close combat into Joe's Terra Dark Jumpluff. Again, more meta developments take place. Carson Confer went 11-0 in days 1 and 2, only to be knocked out in Top Cut, but he was running Indeedee Male, which took center stage on his team and had an effect on the metagame. Other developments included the rise of Corviknight and Alolan Ninetales, although their usage would be relatively short-lived. Dragapult and Dragonite also see significant play. Dragapult mostly using Choice Band and Terra Dragon Dragon Darts to hit both opponents for good damage, whereas Dragonite sees a wide array of sets including Assault Vest, Life Orb, Lumberry, and Choice Band, along with different Terra types in Flying, Steel, or Fairy. Both Ursalunas take a dip in usage, bowing out to the abundance of Dragon types. October 19th. Back across the pond, we find ourselves in Lille, France. The metagame remains relatively stable throughout this tournament, but Sneasler continues to rise in usage, going from 45% on Day 1 to 51% in Day 2. Many are starting to get irritated with its signature move Dire Claw causing sleeps and paralysis, but Electabuzz and Magmar maintain a strong hold in the European metagame, able to redirect both Dire Claw and moves like Spore and Sleep Powder, while being immune to sleep is a very powerful defensive tool. Another metagame development on the rise is the usage of Loaded Dice and Scale Shot, seen on Pokemon such as Baxcalibur, but mostly on Dragonite. Nils Dunlop, our 2023 EUIC champion, takes another win this time around, using a very off-meta team including a Sand Core combined with Indeedee Male, and a more supportive Sneasler with Fake Out and Coaching to power up Excadrill or Tyranitar. November 2nd. I do not know how to say that. How do I say that? Gdanks? Poland? Gdansk? It says American pronunciation is
Gdansk.
Gdansk, Poland marks our 5th regional in the format. As the saying goes, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Sneasler usage peaks at this tournament with an incredible 46% Day 1, followed by 53.6% Day 2. Sneasler truly is the villain. Primarina has also fallen out of favor, going from metagame staple to not even being seen in the top 12. Perhaps its fraud status is well-founded, and from this point forward it will not really be seen in the top 12 at all. What impacts will the lack of Primarina have? As the most common Haze user, was it really keeping Dondozo at bay? Well, this is the first EU tournament where neither Electabuzz or Magmar make an appearance in top 12 usage. Gdansk is also the tournament with the highest Dondozo usage, sometimes seen with its classic partner of Tatsugiri, but also seen as solo dozo with Fisher. What Haze hero will come to fill the void in coming tournaments to prevent this menace of Dondozo? Volcarona makes its first appearance in the top 12 Pokemon here. Quiverdance sets with Heat Wave and Giga Drain, or even Terra Blast Fairy, are both seeing usage. Support sets utilizing Safety Goggles and moves like Struggle Bug and Rage Powder also see some use. In Day 2, Ursaluna Blood Moon continues to show its strength and increases significantly in usage. Our finals match sees the current rank 1 player Marco Silva taking on Federico Camporesi. With an incredibly strong showing of his take on a Sun team, he puts up a strong fight, also putting his faith in Jumpluff. But Federico takes the set and wins the tournament, giving Rain its second regional win. November 15th. The first international event of the 2025 season, LAIC is underway in Sao Paulo, Brazil. The top of the metagame stays consistent, but the surrounding usage has changed a good amount. Electabuzz again sees strong usage Day 1 and Day 2. Ursaluna kicked off Day 1 at almost 19% usage, but was crowded out by other threats in Day 2. While Ursaluna Blood Moon has the opposite effect, not being seen much on Day 1, but landing in 7th place with 23% usage on Day 2. Dragonite also sees a sharp increase in usage, hitting 38.5% on Day 2, with the Scale Shot loaded dice set becoming its most common. Often running Haze itself, it seems to have taken Primarina's place in keeping the ever-present threat of Dondozo at bay. The top 16 teams see some off-meta pick, like this Solo Dozo Komao landing in 3rd, piloted by Ashton Cox. Our 2nd place team, piloted by Victor Medina, also makes a splash with a very unique pick in Sinistra. In the finals, we see Marco Silva again, with the same Sun team that netted him 2nd place not 2 weeks prior. This time, he's able to pick up the win against Victor Medina, giving Sun its first tournament win in the format, and allowing Marco Silva to defend his LAIC championship title from 2023. November 23rd. Sacramento, California, the last regional in the States for Regulation H. Finally, on Day 1, both forms of Ursaluna show up, back-to-back in 10th and 11th place. Gholdengo usage also spikes, being second only to Sneasler, as Gholdengo is an amazing counter with its Steel Ghost typing. Sneasler will soon adapt though, often dropping Fake Out and picking up Throat Chop along with Terra Stellar or Terra Dark to combat this Gholdengo usage. Both Ursalunas also increase in usage a bit from Day 1 to 2, while Scale Shot Dragonite maintains its new hold on the metagame. Although not making top 12 usage at either day, Sinistra is seen on 4 of the top 16 teams. Victor Medina's 2nd place LAIC team is certainly seeing more usage, albeit with some adjustments. Joe Ugarte is still representing his Jumpluff Sun team with Hisuian Typhlosion. After an incredible showing, he makes it to the finals, but his opponent is not to be scoffed at. Carson Confer is his opponent. Recall back in Louisville, he had a perfect record of 11-0, but was knocked out in Top Cut. He's back with a vengeance, and he's here to take the regional win he deserves. Carson takes Game 1 with his Indeedee Sneasler combination, paired with good play around the Jumpluff. Joe adjusts in Game 2 and makes an incredible play by using Ice Spinner on his own Jumpluff to remove the Psychic Terrain caused by Indeedee, while Carson protects both his Pokemon. However, in Game 3, 3 inaccurate overheat misses leave Joe with his second place of the format. Carson wins with Indeedee Male, and it really shoots this pairing of Indeedee Sneasler into the spotlight. November 30th. Just 1 week after, we find ourselves in the last European tournament in Stuttgart, Germany. Finally, in Day 2 of this regional, we see Sneasler removed from its number 1 usage spot, dropping all the way down to 4th. As this happens, we see Incineroar rise to 1st, with Gholdengo and Dragonite in 2nd and 3rd place, all strong Sneasler counters. Our classic Rain Core of Pelipper and Archaludon also rise to 5th and 6th, the highest usage in quite some time for these two. Victor Medina's LAIC team continues to influence the metagame as Sinistra gets some of the respect it deserves and manages to squeak out 12th place in usage on Day 2. Terrabug Archaludon also sees a significant rise in usage, as Amoonguss usage dips a bit, and Terra Grass provides less value. That ground and fighting resist is also a powerful option. An exciting finals it is, with Francesco Pipero making waves with the classic Rain team against Eden Bachelor running an unconventional Terra Water Assault Vest Ursaluna Blood Moon. A battle of behemoths is the theme of the set, with the Blood Moon Beast versus Bug Archaludon. Dragonite from Eden and Gholdengo from both sides also make a huge impact. Ursaluna tanking hits from Archaludon, paired with Gholdengo and Dragonite, Eden outpositions Francesco to take the win in Game 3. Both players using Terra Water Gholdengo, the power of Dragonite, AV Ursaluna, and Terrabug Archaludon will all have big effects on our final regional. December 14th. Dawn of the final day. Toronto, Canada. Toronto 2023 was in October, and the weather was still amicable. This year, the event is held in December, boasting negative temperatures and the most congested highway in North America. Many expected attendance to be lower than other events, but with 735 players, it actually had the second highest attendance just behind Louisville, which hit 753. Not only boasting high attendance, the final Regulation H tournament brought out a significant number of top players. Day 2 included the likes of Wolfie Glick, Shiliang Tang, Justin Tang, Marco Silva, Chupa Cross, Joe Ugarte, Giovanni Costa, Kerry Dortana, Colin Heyer, Riley Factura, Brady Smith, Nick Navarre, James Beck, Luca Paz, Paul Chua, Carson Conford, Judy Azzarelli. Truly a stacked tournament. With all these big names, who will take the final Regulation H victory? Taking a look at our usage stats, they remain relatively stable. Incineroar maintains his #1 spot, taken from Sneasler, hitting 62% usage on day 2. The GOAT is back. Our Chaladon is not seen in the top 12 day 1, but jumps to 7th with 27.6% usage on day 2. Both Ursalunas remain common, and Dragonite stocks continue to rise. Many of these top players stick close to what they were familiar with, and what has been proven to be good throughout Regulation H, perhaps thinking the metagame is near solved. None other than Wolfie Glick brings a very off-meta team, including an age-old duo of Politoed and Kingdra, who haven't seen a major tournament win since 2013. Combined with Gothitelle and his Power Herb Archaladon set, he brings his signature Perish Trap, which throws everyone off guard as he makes his way to the finals. His opponent? Marco Silva, still currently the #1 ranked player. With back-to-back LAIC wins and multiple finalist titles, this Rain vs Sun matchup is one for the ages. In one of the best sets I have ever seen in recent history, Wolfie takes Game 1. Marco adjusts perfectly Game 2, but Wolfie manages to take the win Game 3, taking the set and the final Regulation H tournament. He regains his #1 ranked title and claims his 10th regional win. Regulation H was truly a unique format. Thanks for coming along on this recap of Regulation H. This was different than my usual content, but Reg H was one of my favorite formats ever with how unique it was and how a lot of underrated Pokemon were able to see play. So doing this little retrospective and seeing how my personal experience differed from the actual usage stats in the metagame was really good to go over. It's really cool to analyze a metagame and see how it changes based on how other things are doing. For example, Dragonite's common sets completely changed halfway through the format, from Assault Vest or Lumberry over to Loaded Dice. And as we saw Primarina dip, the primary Haze user, Dondozo reared its ugly head for a little bit. Not to mention the huge rise and smaller fall of Sneasler, as Incineroar's usage picked up near the end, really brought Sneasler down a peg. Overall, it was a great format that felt contained, and the metagame developed really nicely in the 4 months it was legal. Thanks again for watching, and if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe.